Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the United Star. Today, we've got Neil with us. He runs his own channel and a United podcast called Netflix Football. Do check it out. It is on Instagram, it's on YouTube. We put the links in the description. But why Neil is here today is to preview the Liverpool game. This is a massive game, Neil. So, why don't you just straight away first get in to talk a little bit about the rivalry that has existed between Manchester United and Liverpool over the years and how much this means?
First of all, thanks Prasham for inviting me, and it's such a good change of view to be in a podcast rather than hosting one. And Liverpool and Manchester United, wow, 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 wow. Where do I start? Uh, but to be considerate about the fact too that where do I end? I'll talk about that first. Like we are top of the league in 1200 days after Christmas. Like it's a privilege. Like Gary Neville rightly said, why shouldn't United fans get carried away? This is something to be celebrating because our squad honestly is not at that level. And even if by chance we win the Premier League, all hell will break loose. But I'm not going into that much. Since you asked me how United and Liverpool and what they mean is, it is historic. Like since Sir Alex Ferguson left the reins, and before he took over the reins, he made a promise that he'll bloody knock Liverpool off their perch, and he did. Liverpool being the most successful English team when Sir Alex had the reins, to us becoming the most talked about, the glamorous, the Manchester United we all know and love and see in today's date, the brand, the market that it has, the appeal that it has. It's such a lovely thing. To the rivalries, if we say there has been Michael Owen coming in and playing for both sides, Paul Ince was there, and a lot of controversies, lot of controversies. Even the Gerrard Scholes debate that is ongoing since time eternity. For me, Scholes, being a former football player, Scholes is a legend and an icon and an inspiration of the way he committed himself. Even Roy Keane, not as much as the Arsenal days, but Liverpool have suddenly, under Jurgen Klopp, become a world-renowned team, a team that has all the gutso and the names to back it all with. And suddenly, this has emerged as a title race where United, after being like 13th or 14th around 2 months back, are suddenly top of the league, 3 points clear, and we can actually, like you said in the other podcast which we were hosting the other day, that United can dictate proceedings. Prasham, isn't it?
Yeah, Neil, you're absolutely right. I mean, we can dictate proceedings because at the end of the day, if you think about it, Liverpool are the ones who need this win. We're 3 points clear of Liverpool, and like you pointed out, right? Sir Alex Ferguson said that we will knock them off their perch, and we did that. And Liverpool are sort of close to equaling the perch, are equaling the joint spot with us. And what better way to sort of pay tribute to Sir Alex Ferguson's legacy is that one of his sort of project prodigies and one of his students sort of restores our lead at the top and extends that margin. So Vishesh, how much more does this game then mean because it is a title race now that nobody saw coming except you?
If you want me, firstly, thank you for giving me the credit of saying that this is a title race. But if you want me to be honest, it has no relevance whatsoever. So Alex Ferguson said it in his time as well. Maybe that time the competition was Arsenal, or that time the competition was City. Two games do not decide the league. It's the remaining 36. And Prasham, you've said this more than anyone else. So if you go to Liverpool and you pull out a draw or you lose that game, that doesn't mean the title's over. Yes, it does make you lose your first position spot. It does allow City to go above you. There are certain repercussions of it, but that doesn't mean that the season's over for us. That doesn't mean Ole is off the wheel. That doesn't give any sort of inclination to stuff like that because it's a long season and we've seen how things are. When the season started, apparently Mourinho was winning with Spurs. Now they're drawing against Fulham. Arsenal's Arteta was going to get sacked. Now he's on a run of 3 games. So you cannot make a prediction in this league this season. And while the rivalry is there, while winning would be a bold statement for Manchester United, I don't see this game having a title race impact because it's only 17 games in. It's midway through the season, and the league is very close for the first time. So we cannot pinpoint a specific game as a title race deciding game. I believe the second game, if United are in the hunt for the title on May 1st when we play Liverpool, that would be a title deciding game.
Right. So, Vishesh, the way I look at it, I agree with you partly that this game is not going to decide anybody's future. But what I also think is that if we can get the win at Anfield, the psychological pressure it will put on Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool, it will force them into committing mistakes that they would not commit otherwise. Because we'd be 6 points clear of them. Man City would actually go above them with if they win their game in hand, and they would be in third place. So I think not as much for us, but I think this game is more important as for Liverpool
Yeah.
than it could be for Manchester United at this point.
Point I would make, and this is what I would say. So when you look at United as a side, we're a confidence side, right? When we win games, we gain our confidence and we move on. Okay. When you look at the likes of Liverpool, they're similar to the old Manchester United, where they have won trophies, so they have the self belief that if they're in a bad position, they can pull through it. There have been multiple games where they've been horrible, but I think that self belief and self confidence has helped them nick that draw, or so on and so forth. So for
Right.
that reason, I believe that while what you're saying is right, if Liverpool lose and the pressure's on them, their confidence will go down. I don't think this is end it for either manager or team if they lose. But yes, the rivalry is important, and for that reason, the team should go all guns blazing.
Right. So Neil, I mean, obviously you've heard what Vishesh and me think of this game. Now, what I want to ask you is this: would you go to Anfield to play for a draw?
No, because primarily City with the two games in hand are just one, potentially 1 point below us. A draw suits them more. And honestly, you do not go into a match maybe thinking, I don't know Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's thinking at this point of time, because there's a lot of pragmatism to it. It's understandable if he takes a cautious approach, because after the Spurs defeat, I see him reinstating Fred and McTominay, those two defensive midfield partnership, to actually protect the back four. And it has worked wonders. They have run a lot more. The team has been more throughout the field, throughout the pitch, winning in balls. But honestly, if I were the manager, I would never ever think about going for a draw with that mindset, because Liverpool will eat you up. If you suddenly do not counter press them, if that makes sense, with that fragile of a defense and our movement going forward, Liverpool with their front three will just eat us alive like anything, like they have done before. And it
Right.
should be a cautious approach, but not too much in that mindset.
Right. Vishesh, I'm going to let you come in here, but I have another question for Neil just to add to the McTominay and Fred thing that you said. So, tactically, do you yet see us setting up with McTominay or Fred, or do you think Paul Pogba has done enough to warrant a place to start in this game?
Very interesting question, because since Mino Raiola came out with its statement, Paul Pogba has been on fire. He's been dragging United. Yeah, we know his limitations of the game, but we just cannot actually forget that he is a player as well, with his drawbacks and with his qualities. Paul Pogba has been immense in every position that he has been played in, primarily as playing as a Mezzala on the left hand side, reminiscing his Juve days. And honestly, I would see Fred and McTominay starting, because number one, they were rested midweek against Burnley, and that was not a match for them. And Liverpool, United would need that pair in midfield, and we would see, since probably Cavani will be starting off the bench, what I feel, Rashford to the right and Pogba to the left, that diamond or semi 4-2-1-3 formation that we have seen being employed in the past few matches, that is the formation that we are going to, so that whoever marks Bruno Fernandes or whoever marks Paul Pogba, they cannot have both. And suddenly, if you just concentrate on Bruno, Pogba's free, and vice versa. So I think Liverpool would be in a tight spot, considering that Fabinho, the best midfielder, would be playing in defense, and that would guarantee a lot of space for our creative midfielders to work in.
Right. Vishesh, coming in on both these points, first of all, the draw question that I asked Neil to you, and then the sort of Paul Pogba question that you have to ask in every podcast nowadays.
Rasham, it's very interesting. Let me put in a fact. Liverpool haven't lost in at Anfield for the last 67 games. So going there, and if today you say, will you take a draw? I'll accept it. But just going back to the previous question, the psychological impact. Imagine going to Anfield and ending that 67 run game, non-loss run. That would be
Unbeaten run
immense.
is the
That would
word,
that
Vishesh.
would be immense. I mean, the amount of credit that then will have to be given to the players and Ole. So I would take anything. I would take a Jose Mourinho sitting back, scoring a last minute goal, or a Louis Van Gaal boring game, but getting that 1-0 goal. I will accept any of that. But getting to your Paul Pogba point now, I think Neil is spot on. I think I can see a diamond or Pogba playing on the left kind of situation. But I don't see that happening for the simple reason Liverpool's defense is so weak right now. As you said, Fabinho's playing in the centre back position. Henderson may be playing centre back, where I think we need a striker that can bully that centre back pairing. And I think that striker is Edison Cavani. So for that reason, I believe Cavani needs to start this game. Otherwise, I would have definitely gone for the 4-4-2 diamond or 4-2-3-1, however Ole likes to put it, with Pogba on the left.
But this is my question to Neil, and of course, Vishesh, you can come in on this as well. Why do we see the 4-4-2 diamond as exclusively Martial and Rashford starting? Why is it not possible that Rashford plays off Cavani? Because I think that is a more exciting option, because we've seen Martial's finishing has been a little off. But if Rashford actually plays off Cavani, that means Cavani can knock down balls and Rashford can run off him, attacking Henderson and Fabinho or whoever plays in that defense, who are not particularly fast defenders. So I think that could be an option as well.
Tactically, if you ask me, Prashant, I feel Cavani, number one, Cavani had played the full 90 against Burnley. That was a dogged of a match. And I think that for Cavani to play, you need balls in the box. I don't see an Alex Telles starting because Luke Shaw has been by far a very improved player and he's been swinging balls in as well. But most importantly, you need to cut down Mo Salah off the right. So I'm sorry. So Luke Shaw over an Alex Telles is destined, and lot of Martial actually gets a lot of stake for his performances because primarily we see that we watch people on the ball, but the off the ball runs that Martial makes, the link ups that he makes, even the game against Burnley, he had an overkick attempt, a bicycle kick attempt slammed in the face, Nick Pope becoming prime Lev Yashin and saving that. Otherwise, if he would have played in Serie A or even the La Liga, he would have easily gotten more than 20 goals a season with the talent and with the runs he makes. It is just unlucky that the Premier League is of such a high standard, of such high quality players, even the not so named ones coming in and pitching in with those kind of performances, that Martial or Rashford or anyone. The biggest testament to that is we had at least three top scorers joining the top spot for the last two of the three seasons, if I'm not wrong. And you win the Golden Boot by scoring 20 goals, whereas you need around 30 goals to win the Golden Boot in other leagues as well. So that is my point. Bringing Cavani on with a tired defense against Liverpool, where there will be more space, where Martial is working the defense on the first half. Rashford is a definite starter. If Martial's injury problems persist, Cavani has to start. This is not a game for Mason Greenwood. But if not, I'd stick to that philosophy. And I think that's what we might expect.
Right, right. Vishesh, do you agree with that sort of? Because I, for one, have been saying on the channel since quite a long time that while Martial has been absolutely disgusting and disappointing in front of goal, I think the runs he's been making have been fantastic. His off the ball movement has been great. So, do you agree with that, or do you think that Mason Greenwood or Cavani get the go ahead of?
No, I agree with that. I think he's been unlucky against the Burnley game. I think as Neil said, against Burnley, Nick Pope turned into prime time Manuel Neuer whenever Martial took a shot. Uh, but that being said, if I have to look at this game, I would still go with the combination of Martial, Cavani, Rashford, for the simple reason I want Rashford on that left against Trent Alexander-Arnold because of how poor Alexander-Arnold has
So,
been this.
Vishesh, then just take us through your formation and team as well once, because then you said Pogba would play as well in a diamond. So, who
So
sits?
I said I would want. I can see that happening, but I do not want that to happen.
Right, right.
My
So, what would be?
team would be De Gea in goal with Van Bissaka, Shaw, Maguire, Lindelof, because I think Lindelof can cut the balls and it's not going to be as physical as it was against Burnley. With Fred, McTominay, Bruno, Martial on the right, Rashford on the left, Cavani up front.
Right. Neil, do you agree with that 11? Because you think it's going to be a diamond. So that, and the second question, of course, is Lindelof or Bailly. Who do you think will start?
I'll start with the second question. Definitely a buy, because Lindelof, however good he is at his ball playing or at his covering the channels, he loses his man more often than not. I was a big fan of Lindelof, but suddenly with Maguire coming in, actually Lindelof and Maguire are the same kind of a defender. They are both ball playing defenders. They commit the same mistakes. They get dragged out into the same position, and both of them doing together. So that's why they do not, even though they are good players with a better partner, but they do not complement each other. I don't know the thinking of Ole, but I would definitely go with a buy, because you let Liverpool's front three an inch of space, they'll punish you. Off form, on form, doesn't matter, because this is a derby. Everyone will be pumped. So we won't take that risk. And coming back to the formation, I'll go with that semi diamond or 4-2-3-1 formation where Pogba is off the left, because Ole doesn't favor Martial of coming off the right, and Martial doesn't himself see himself playing as a right winger because he's more deadlier cutting inside. Yes, Rashford sacrificing himself for the betterment of the team, because we do not have any specialist right wingers, and at this moment of time, only Marcus Rashford seems fit, capable of playing, being that plug in the hole in that right wing where he can work the defense. And we would definitely need someone of the caliber of Rashford to actually check Andrew Robertson's marauding down that flank. Martial has done a decent job dribbling, and probably is a better close control dribbler than Marcus
Then
Rashford
Rashford, yeah.
and Trent would have his hands fixed. But definitely Eric Bailly, because of what I said. You do not want to give an inch of space to those Liverpool front three at all.
Right. So Neil, just to add to that, I personally think Bailly will start as well, and I want him to start. Why is because I, even though he plays a little bit too much on the edge for my liking, but this is the kind of game where I want him because Maguire we know is slow. We know that, and with Mohamed Salah and Sadio Mane, if they keep hitting us, we need someone to be able to fast enough. We need someone to be able to be fast enough to make those recovery runs. So I think Eric Bailly fits into that mold quite brilliantly, and I think he should be given a chance because of that as well. And I'm assuming so your midfield four is going to be McTominay at the base, Fred, Pogba, and Bruno. So I'm assuming that's the sort of four you're going for.
I actually made a video on my channel actually explaining that we do not actually play a diamond, rather we actually play a square where Fred and McTominay are the two sitting midfielders, Pogba leftish. Imagine that in a square, Pogba on the top left, Bruno on the top right, covering those channels or half spaces, whatever you want to call them, because that's the formation. Bruno drifts out wide, Pogba coming in off the left. That's the formation that United seem to play. It looks as a basically what, from my understanding of the situation, is that when you put Fred on the base of the diamond, he loses his mind. Like he cannot go up. What he's best at, going up and pressing high, he cannot do that. And suddenly he's caught in a conundrum. Like if he misses that challenge, the opponent's going to get in behind and score a goal. So he's caught in two minds whenever he's played that, especially the Leipzig match, where we saw that he could not, even before his yellow card, or sorry, that was PSG. Even in that PSG match, before the yellow card, he could not actually go up because he was there playing in the diamond, base of the diamond. Even the Arsenal match, when Scott McTominay and Fred started as a pair in front of the defense, they are the most deadly because they work in tandem. And to finish off your question, Pogba leftish, Bruno rightish, whipping in the balls, coming central, changing position, and harrying the defense, because Jordan Henderson and your Fabinho aren't the fastest or natural born defensive minded players. And one fact I would like to add, because you named Mo Salah, Firmino, and Sadio Mane, there would be another attacking player playing in midfield, probably your Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain,
Wijnaldum.
who's Wijnaldum is a box-to-box player, but another attacking-minded midfielder to compensate for that. Maybe Thiago getting a game, because even if you don't have Fred and McTominay and you let Thiago run the show, it's game over.
Yeah, completely agree with that. Vishesh, what I want to ask you is this: that since I think Neil's brought up an interesting point about the square. I mean, what I also feel is that when Pogba is playing more of an advanced role, Bruno is able to take that backseat and dictate a play a little bit more. His numbers may not have been up there in the last few games, but in the last 2-3 games, but he's able to control the play a little bit more. What people keep saying, oh, Bruno is just direct, he picks the ball up and he looks for a pass. With Pogba moving more advanced, Bruno can actually play the ball next with Pogba or Martial and make those sort of move the play quicker, I feel. What do you think with that?
Prasham, you're more or less right. When Bruno came and he started off so brilliantly, we all were crazy about the Bruno Pogba partnership, and it did show its benefits in that run after the or whatever the COVID restart project, whatever EPL calls it, and it's showing its dividends now as well. I mean, the last game, we Bruno was nowhere close to what he is, but Paul Pogba picked up the reins and put in a performance, and it's as simple as that. We said about City that if you mark Kevin De Bruyne, they have a Bernardo Silva. If you mark Bernardo Silva, they have a Kun Aguero. You can. They always have someone else, and that's something that's getting formed at United. To be honest, like if you have Bruno Fernandes, well, you also have a Paul Pogba. You have a Paul Pogba, well, you also have a Edison Cavani, and that's what you want at the club. And that's the thing. So if one player has an off game, it doesn't impact the team. And if all players have a good game, there is no way of beating us. That is the United we want to see, and that is what we're getting now.
Right. So you mentioned about the fact that City have these players. Well, in this game, we've already spoken about it. If you get a Mo Salah, there's a Sadio Mane. If you get a Mane, there is a Firmino. If you get a Firmino, there's probably going to be a Thiago or a Wijnaldum who surprisingly pops in a lot of goals from sort of weird positions or good positions, the way you look at it. So, Neil, what, apart from McTominay and Fred, of course, they are the keys in midfield. Who else do you think will be very important to block this Liverpool defense attack off? Will it be actually the centre back pairing, or will it be actually down to Van Bissaka and Shaw to ensure that they don't provide Mane and Salah to the space to come in?
Very interesting point, but I would actually beg to differ with you, being Luke Shaw and Wan Bissaka being the only ones. I personally feel the defense starts from Bruno Fernandes, because whenever against the City match, whenever the opposition goalkeeper had the ball, Bruno Fernandes was the only man or the first man to make the charge of press, and that resulted in transitions of play. I counted 5 times Bruno had made the press, and that led in 2 or 3 passes City were had it, and that led to a transition of possession, that led to a change of possession. So my point being, not suppose, Thiago is definitely going to start in a match of this caliber. Bruno is going to harry him. Remember the Leipzig match where Kevin Campbell was on the ball and he was switching balls out wide for fun. Bruno was playing out of a false nine role, which he won't play, assuming, in the Liverpool match. And if Bruno, we don't see Paul Pogba marking him, because Paul Pogba is more of a transitional player where he helps carry the ball in a break of play, which would be seen more in the Liverpool match. Bruno, if he harries Thiago, and Thiago cannot get the ball out wide where our team is concedes the most from crosses out wide, and those channels created by the space between the center backs and the fullback, then United have got a game on. And being Thiago Alcantara, one of the favorite players in this current generation because of his deep lying playmaking abilities, he can play anywhere. He's so intelligent. So is Bruno Fernandes. Suddenly, you see a battle going on in the defensive transition of United, where Bruno is so much important. Paul Pogba has chipped in with his share of defensive work rate. We saw in the last 2 or 3 games where he's been magnanimous, winning the second balls, winning the rebounds, and setting off the team in attack. So I personally feel more that Shaw and Wan Bissaka will have their work cut out. But I feel Bruno Fernandes, he rarely has a bad game, and he has to step it up defensively as well to just actually do a Herrera on Thiago, in simple words.
Right, and this ties into the last point as well, where Bruno has been allowed to drop a little deeper and do this job as well, because firstly, all the creative burden is not on him anymore. So Vishesh, let me
No,
get to some
no,
predictions now. I think
let me tell you one thing. You know the way Neil has mentioned about Bruno. Similar. Let's take it back to the Bruno Grealish thing in the Aston Villa game. It's something similar to
Right.
that. But the importance that Ole keeps mentioning, that we press from our striker. I believe that the main two players in this game will be our wingers. The more we can push back the likes of Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold, the less the crosses come in. So if our wingers can keep them in their own half, rather than coming into our half and whipping in those crosses consistently, I think we're good. If we can
Right.
nullify that part, I believe our defense and the pairing of Fred and McTominay can do the job.
But
I just
on
have
a personal,
something.
yeah,
I just
Neil,
have
go ahead.
something to add here on this, because you see some teams are generally minded on overlapping fullbacks. No matter how hard you try to push them, they will take that risk, because a team like Liverpool plays on overloads on the final third. They have no winger. They have forwards, inside forwards, who are around the edge of the box, and you'll always see them, minimum two of them on the end of the cross, which either flank fullback puts in. You don't see Mo Salah whipping up across from going into the byline or whipping up across. They're always in and around the penalty area to win penalties. I'm hoping Jurgen Klopp is not listening to me and crying in the shed right now, because that's the different story. But similarly, United need to capitalize. United need to be brave. United need to keep either Rashford or the left-sided player, be it a Paul Pogba, be it a Martial, be it a Cavani, whoever is playing on that side, to be up the pitch. That creates a mentality diversion that Robertson has to look over his back. And if you give 1 millisecond in a match of this intensity, you're already halfway behind, aren't you?
Right, right. So I also feel that the importance of Robertson and Arnold, more than I think Vishesh putting crosses in, is the way they're able to switch play from side to side very quickly. And I feel that is something that we need to cut out as well. And I think both you and Neil are right that we need to keep them busy so that they can't switch play so easily. But now let's get into some predictions. I think that's the most interesting part of these previews, to see whether we get it right or not. So Vishesh, what is your scoreline for this game? Remember, if we win, we go 6 points clear. If we draw, we stay 3 points clear. So, which one of the two is it going to be?
Let me say something, Prashant. We go 6 points clear of Liverpool. We don't go 6 points clear of the title. Okay, there is this team known as Manchester City, and we need to realize, for the first time, City are the sleeping giants that are slowly coming up, and we've completely, as a fan base, forgotten about Manchester City. But that being said, I think what we also need to remember this season, it's the best home team versus the best away team. We've never lost away; they've never lost at home. So one of them is going to get the better of the other, and I think it's going to be United. I'm going for the 1-0. Bruno Fernandes, not the 93rd minute penalty or anything, just a generic normal goal during normal time. But yeah,
Actually, Vishesh, I'm actually torn whether I want to see a Bruno Fernandes goal from the from out of the box in the top corner, or a 93rd minute penalty where Jurgen Klopp basically disintegrates and melts down at the touchline, and Liverpool look for a new manager. So, Neil, what
Boom.
is your prediction for the game?
Uh, Difficult one. I actually got the Burnley one right, where I said that it would be a dogged encounter and United would scrape through a 1-0 victory. Because let's face it, United has had their problems with teams that are mentally in a more better place to challenge for a title than we are at this moment of time. So Liverpool are that. More than that, that this is a derby. If Liverpool, my predictions are always twos in because of the situation of play. Because however we may put it in pen or paper, what happens on the field is totally different. Like the Leeds match in recent memory. So if Liverpool come out pressing from the minute one and United aren't being able to let into the game, Bruno is not being able to, like Thiago does a job on Bruno, because Klopp is a mastermind as well. I see Liverpool getting comfortable 2-0, no way back for United. But this has a more chance of happening of what I'm going to say next is United come all guns blazing. From minute one, United's ball retention and playing out of the back has been improved massively. And United, if United get control in the first 15 minutes or the last 10 minutes to the first half, United can actually impose the dominance and come out with a 2-1 or a 2-0 victory. These are my
Right.
predictions.
So I feel like I disagree with sort of both of you all at some level. What I feel is that it will not be. I don't think either team will come out all guns blazing. I think both teams will be cautious. I don't think Liverpool want to lose to United at home and create that 6 point gap. I don't think United want to lose either. I mean, if you ask Ollie right now, would he take a draw before this game starts? I think he might take that draw. I think I personally might take that draw before this game starts at this point. So I feel that it will be a cautious game, but I think we'll nick it 2-1, but I don't think anyone's coming out all guns blazing for this one. I think it's going to be 2-1. And my key players are going to be Bruno Fernandes and actually David De Gea. I'm going to call David De Gea out once again. I think he's going to play another important role because Salah and Mane are going to get chances. Salah will take a shot every time he gets a chance. So I think David De Gea will be important. And I hope we can, get this win and get that 6 point gap.
Prasham, just one final thing I would like to add on your statement is that Liverpool lost to Southampton, and it is a matter of pride. Where Liverpool play with their hearts on their sleeve, it's a matter of pride for Jurgen Klopp with all the trash talk that he has done pre-match building up to this match. It's a matter of pride that if he does that, he will definitely go for that win. And with that, knowing that mindset of Jurgen Klopp, going for that win, if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer tries to go for a draw, that's chaos. That's chaos in front of our defense. We are at our best when we are going for that win. Even if we concede that goal, we are still in that right mindset. So that's why I made this assumption or made this prediction, knowing the fact that Liverpool, it's a matter of pride for them. And it's a matter of even more substance for United going out and defeating this Liverpool team and announcing to the, because half 90% of the world expect this to be a draw or a Liverpool win. But if United can do that, they can actually go in there and say, we're in for the title list, buddy. Catch us if you can.
Right. So thanks, Neil, for coming on. Do check out his Netflix football. We have put the links in the description, and there's a YouTube channel as well for you to subscribe to. So do check that out. Thanks for coming on. Do subscribe to our channel, guys, if you're new here. And hopefully we win this game. And we'll see you all at the review. Glory, glory, Man United. And see you later.
GGMU.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching our video. If you do like it, please click on the thumbs up and please subscribe to our channel. Click on the bell icon to get daily notifications from the United Star. Follow us on Instagram at the.UnitedStar and we will see you soon.